Welcome to the Hay Kings podcast, brought to you by Vermeer, your expert in hay and forage equipment. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Andrew Eddy. Andrew's the president of the Washington State Hay Growers Association, and we're going to do a promo for the Northwest Hay Expo. Now, I've had the good opportunity to be all over the world and go to many hay shows. I kind of like my hometown show the best, but maybe I'm biased. Let's tell folks about it and see what they think. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about your operation, where you're at, what you do, and then we'll dive into the hay show.
Yeah, so we're based in Central Washington, second generation grower. We farm probably about 1,000 acres, and then we do custom work on a couple thousand more per year. Heavily involved in the hay industry itself through the Washington State Hay Growers Association and other organizations inside the industry. So we try to make sure that we're, building and creating a future for the industry itself.
Now, remind me, your dad serves on the NAFA board too, right?
He does, yeah. So he serves on the National Alfalfa and Forage Alliance board, kind of covers the whole spectrum of the industry. So we're just trying to make sure that everything keeps growing, keeps building along, and kind of heads in the right direction as we get more and more stringent on rules, regulations, laws, projects, and things like that may affect the forage industry and the agricultural industry as a whole.
All right. Let's dive into the program here for the Hay Expo. Now, maybe I should have led in with the Hay Expo is Wednesday, January 17th and Thursday, January 18th. So the first day, looking at the agenda here, we're talking about weed control, pocket gopher control. Let's see here. Here's a Timothy specific one. Of course, Timothy's big in the Northwest. Looking at tonnage and plant health. So this first day is really about more agronomic stuff, getting your pesticide credits because of course in Washington you have to have a applicator's license to buy certain herbicides like, the really dangerous ones like 2,4-D. And so that actually ends up being a big draw to the show, is that you have to get pesticide credits. The second day is more market updates, status of the Western hay market, fertilizer market updates. Let's see here. Oh, here's a little bit on regenerative ag, and then into the Ports and Seaport Alliance discussions. So it's kind of split half and half here.
Correct. Yeah, we like the way we structure the show. We always like to have a combination of, university research or even private research or private talks on agronomic principles and building soil, building plant health, kind of new ways to manage your plants, whether that's through like biostimulants or biologicals or anything like that, to make farms aware of some options about what they could do, to be more efficient or look at things that they may not have looked at. And then day two, that typically is the industry day, like you had stated. So we like to kind of give a fuel update, a fertilizer update, and kind of a market update, just to kind of get kind of the main three spearheaded for normal costs inside of an operation. So people can kind of plan, what they're kind of thinking for the year, what the outlook is for the year, especially after this last year where it was a very tumultuous market. Nobody really expected it to be as bad as it was, but it is what it is. So just kind of some guidance on what to think for this next year. For the Northwest, one of the biggest markets is the export market itself. So figuring out, what the port's doing, the Northwest Seaport Alliance is doing to help growers, shippers, exporters, that kind of thing, to kind of make things a little easier, or even just what their outlook is for the next year, to see if there's going to be struggles, challenges, problems, things like that. And just kind of to wrap it all up, just the dynamics of the hay export industry and where thhere things are going. If we're going to have another tumultuous year like we did this last year in 2023, if 2024 is going to be a little better, if the market's going to be a little softer, exchange rates, that kind of thing. So, all these factor into an efficient and productive operation. It's things to keep an eye on that are very impactful every single day that we go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to get those addressed and figured out is huge. So we try to bring in a wealth of knowledge across the board, targeted to say, hey, look, here's this wealth of knowledge. Here's how to use it. Come see it. And normally the turnout for the show is very good.
Let's take a break there, and we'll get a word from our sponsor.
My name is Rob Flowers, live in Whitesboro, Texas. The 604R premium efficiency level is through the roof. Dependability and durability on the 604R has been outstanding. We've had zero chain issues, zero bearing issues. The camless pickup has been phenomenal. And at the end of the day, that gives me more time to go home and be with my family, prepare for the next day, get more done.
Hear the full story at makeandhay.com/haykings.
This is one of the reasons that I say it's one of the better, again, I have this biased. There's a few pure hay shows around the country. In fact, you and I were just down at the Western Alfalfa Forage Symposium in Reno. And then we have the World Alfalfa Congress, and there's several state hay growers meetings. The Oregon has theirs, Arizona has theirs. So there's several different shows out there, but there's none that pull in, hundreds of people over several days with an entire equipment hall full of just hay equipment. And I know we're nowhere near, Agritechnica or the World Ag Expo, but we're just hay.
Correct. And that's the thing is we're one of the biggest, I should restate this. We are the biggest hay show in the Northwest. So between Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and even into Utah a little bit. We're the biggest one in the Northwest. So we bring in some people from Oregon. We bring in some people from Idaho. We've had some people in from Utah, California pretty consistently. So it's nice to have that platform and keep building on it. I think typical average attendance is, I think, somewhere just north of 500 people through the door in and out. There's been years of 700. There's been years of, 500. So we try to make it the most beneficial for growers that attend, and just bring industry in and focus on that, and focus on, university research. And our, we do have our variety trials that the Washington State Hay Growers partners with WSU to put out and perform. Just kind of a guide. Not a set in stone, hey, you need to buy this, but hey, here's the varieties that work in our area. Here's how they could perform, match it with our, with our research, and here we go. So we've been doing that a long time, and we keep wanting to improve and push forward and build on what we've already established and make it even better.
Anything else you want to add about this? I know I'm a little bit of a fanboy of this show.
We'll see how 2024 goes. It'll give a good indication here at this show for a lot of people in the Northwest about what the year is going to kind of sculpt out to be. We're hoping things are starting to go a little on the uptick. The farm economy right now is a little strained. Yeah, a little rocky and strained.
Yeah, there's stress out there for sure.
Yeah, so I think, heading into 24, it's another one of those, hey, you better, run your pencil and say, hey, is this profitable? Is this not? Is this working? Is this not? And a little more than you may have in the past.
What I just heard you say is during times of stress, it's important to come together as an industry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And that's the thing is pull from resources that you have, utilize the tools that you have, and don't really be afraid to ask questions on what you may not understand the most.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're asking for help doesn't mean that you're a failure. So it's tough to weather the economy and weather the storm when you're grasping for straws and all this on your own. You might as well just have a team with you and say, hey, look, here's what I got. Here's how I can build. Here's how I can grow. and here's how I can make it through this time to make it to the better market years, which is going to happen eventually. It's just nobody really knows when.
Yep.
So
tides come in and tides go out. And the only thing that you know for sure is it doesn't last forever.
Correct. So, but yeah, I think the only real thing on our show is, come check it out. Like John Paul said, the dates are the 17th and 18th. It's a good time. We have breaks in there. We have a really good trade show with a bunch of industry people that are great to have on board.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of very good, specific to the forage industry,
Mm-hmm.
From dealerships to oil suppliers, fuel suppliers, state resources, pretty much anything you can think of. We have kind of an industry rep there, which is very good because a lot of industry people have kind of pulled back on their trade show presentations and participation. So, we're very fortunate to say as a board to be able to have those people on and continually bring them back because they see the value in the show. So if anybody makes it, we look forward to seeing you in January.
I want to do something special here. We don't usually give plugs here. Okay, I do give plugs on the occasion because it's my show and I can do that. But there's sponsors for the Northwest Hay Expo here, and I want to point out which companies are still here and supporting our show, because that's an important part of the industry. We have gold, silver, and bronze sponsors for the show, and I'm just going to read them off here so folks know who's out there supporting the industry. We have Anderson Hay, Zeno Hay, and Coleman Oil as gold sponsors. Silver sponsors are Ag West Farm Credit, Ward Rue, CHS, and Circle C Equipment. Bronze sponsors, Larson Gross, Agri-Service, ITC Services, Valleywide, the Northwest Seaport Alliance, Sage Hill, Paydirt, and RDO Equipment. And then the supporter level is Leffel, Otis, and Warwick, the McGregor Company, and Tri-Cities Intermodal. So to all of those companies that I just listed off, thank you very much for supporting the industry. It does make a difference. And for anybody wishing to attend, for more information, you can go to wa-hay.org. And at the top, there's a tab that says Northwest Hay Expo. And you can see the program, the schedule here, and hotel information if you're looking for that. It looks like the Spring Hill Suites attached to the convention center. It says the room block is full, but the Hilton Garden Inn is the next one right across the parking lot. That's the most convenient. So I hope to see everybody at the Hay Expo in Kennewick, Washington, January 17th and 18th. And Andrew, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.